Coach, you played the position, you played with Mike Singletary, you coached Brian Urlacher. So, given all that context around the position of linebacker, like where does that put Luke Kuechly? In that context, why does that make him so special with what he was able to do?
Well, I put Luke right up there with all the greats. I know he only had the opportunity to play 8 seasons in the league, but what he accomplished in those 8 seasons was a tremendous amount of football. Um, and why, more so than anything else, because to me, when you look at those guys you mentioned, Mike Singletary, Brian Urlacher, two Hall of Famers, um, two guys that I had the great fortune of being around and watch the way they played the game. But more importantly, what I saw was how they impacted the game. They made the people around them better. They raised them up. Not only do they help your defense be better, but they also help your offense be better because they set the tone, they set the tempo. And, one thing that Luke did was Luke set the standard for our guys. And that really was very, very impactful. You said, well, he's a defensive guy. How does he impact the offense? Well, those guys impacted the offense because they got the ball back. They made plays that were impactful. They made plays that were made it easier for your offense to score. I think our Super Bowl season, we led the league in takeaways in positive scoring positions. And so when you do that, when you're the guy that's kind of leading all of that charge and making those around you better, you're an impactful guy. The other thing that was also impressive was what other people told me about Luke was, oh man, we had to do this because of Luke, or we had to prepare for your defense this way because Luke impacted your defense. So that tells you, again, you impact the player around you and you impact your opponents. I think you're worthy of the Hall of Fame.
You go back to that 2012 draft, you guys had your offensive centerpiece in place in Cam Newton from the year before. You have Thomas Davis, you have John Beeson. What was it about Luke Kuechly that made him so special that told you guys that we have to have this guy and we have to add him to our team?
Well, really in talking with Marty Herney, Marty really felt that we needed a guy that could impact the defense in another way. Both Sean McDermott and I came from Jim Johnson, having been with the Eagles, been pretty much brought up in that style of defense, and that was what we were going to play. And we needed a guy that was kind of like an air traffic controller. He handled everything. He got the front set, he got the secondary set, he communicated with the linebackers, he made checks, and we needed that type of special guy. But also his style of play really fit and suited the way we saw it. He was a downhill player. And it's funny because a lot of people didn't think that way about him initially, but from watching the tape and watching the film, I felt that way. I know Marty felt that way, and most certainly visiting with Sean McDermott and talking about Luke, we felt this was a guy that we were looking for.
You talk about the, just the special nature that he brought, kind of that controlling the defense. Was there a moment that stood out to you? We see those kind of chess matches between him and now his fellow classmate Drew Brees. Those are kind of the ones we think of. Is there an early moment where you said, how did he see that? How did he know that?
Well, in all honesty, we kind of heard that when we first met with him. Here we are, we're at Indy, we're doing the interview, and you listen to him talk, and it's like, oh my gosh, hey, Luke, tell us what you did on this play. Well, he didn't just tell what he did, he talked about what everybody did. And that's what was impressive was he told you the other 10 positions as well, and he also told you how it impacted the opponent. So you really kind of had that sense. All you had to do is watch the tape from our seasons with Luke at the helm, and you saw how he communicated, you saw how he anticipated, and it's really kind of neat because I think our coaches felt it because I know Steve Wilkes at one point said, anytime we were having a meeting with Luke in it, we knew we had to be on our game because he would correct.
How quickly did he become kind of an extension of you and Sean out on the field? I mean, he had that stellar rookie of the year season to start. I mean, did it happen that quickly?
It did. It happened that quickly. And for me, really, it was pretty much trying to get the culture across. And Luke understood what we were about, what we wanted, that we were trying to create the sustainable winning culture. And he really was an extension of what I was trying to do. For Sean, it was really controlling and handling the way we did things on defense. Everything from the way he was prepared, he went into meetings, and the way he approached practice. that helped set the tone and tempo Sean wanted. And I think that's really why we were as successful as we were.
You know, coaches want all their guys to watch film. Did it surprise even you how much? I mean, he was kind of this famous film junkie. Did it surprise you
Yes.
how much film he was actually watching?
No, because of the guys I'd been around. I
Yeah,
was with Mike Singletary. Mike used to watch so much that he'd come in the next day and he would just hand you a sheet of paper for your position.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, and you felt bad because you wanted to say, well, Mike, I did watch this and I did see this, but not like he did though. And so with Brian, it was the same thing because he helped all of our defensive guys as well. But then you see it with Luke, and he just reinforced that that's how you're a professional. That's how you help your team.
Coach, you and Luke, your both of your last seasons here ended up being that 2019 season. As you watch him now go into the Hall of Fame, how special is it to you to have shared that span of time with him as your player for the Carolina Panthers?
And that's exactly it. Luke is my first guy that we drafted, we coached, and we retired. And I had the great privilege of him coming to see me before he announced that he was going to retire. We had a great conversation. And I've told this to a couple of people too, is because of Luke and the way Luke was and the way he handled himself and the way he played on the field, off the field, it really kind of validates the way I see coaching and our role as coaches, as mentors, as people that are supposed to be there help directing and guiding our people. I think that really makes me feel good about the fact that I became a coach in the NFL.
And we're glad that you're going to make the trip to Canton. So, what do you think it'll be like to see Luke up there?
I had for the most part throughout my entire coaching career, I missed all the opportunities when I had players going in, when I had teammates going in.
Yeah,
Um, and so this is only the second opportunity I've been able to be there in person. The first time was the year I was off. I was able to go
yeah.
and had a couple players that I was involved with get into the league. I'm into the Hall of Fame, but this is the first opportunity that one of my guys is getting in. And so I'm very excited about it. And I'm thrilled, mostly because also the number of guys that I've reached out to, teammates,
Yeah.
coaches that are going to be there. So this is going to be exciting.
Coach, always a pleasure. Enjoy your trip to Canton. Good luck the rest of this preseason, and we'll see you there.
Right on. Thanks, Nick.